I always get flustered on how I'm always getting blown up by Lee.
Well, so when you think of common Lee strats, right? Common Lee strat is use things like DF1, which is -1 block, into things like Magic 4, which gives him a full combo. He'll use down 4, which is
like
a high crush.
back
And
four is like one of the best moves in the game.
so when you think of stuff like that, he's taking away a lot of your options right off the bat. So you have to do things like jab count, but he has obviously he does have answers for that. I think it's FF4 that has additional high crushing frames now. But when Lee does things like that, he's forcing you to try to challenge him with either like your Magic 4, jab, and he can counter hit those pretty easily. So these are all things to just kind of think about when you're playing Lee, and it's really hard to get by.
So were we gonna have Hyper Shields tag as for this starter?
Yeah, we're gonna just leave it as Hyper Shields.
So he started off pretty well. Oh, he could have finished that. See, that's one thing. If he can do 4-2-1 consistently against 4-4-4, 4-4-4-3, then Crimson's gonna have to think about a different way to approach.
Alright, so now that I have the mains up.
If he would have punished that, I know obviously the low's there, but if he would have punished that, CrimsonLotus probably would have died there because Lee had rage.
Yeah, that is true. But I do like the game that CrimsonLotus does play. It's for the most part is very compact, nothing too out of the ordinary for how Lee functions.
Yeah. I remember, like, when I first played CrimsonLotus, like, a couple weeks ago, I thought that he liked to challenge a lot, but then he started... Oh, wow.
Oh, he could die! One mix-up!
But the last time, but then the next time I saw him play, he definitely started playing more, like, patient. So, I think CrimsonLotus is good at knowing what type of approach he wants to do when he's playing somebody. If he needs to challenge more, he has no issues with doing that.
But you also have to think that Tekken 7 does encourage you to challenge more.
Yeah. Oh, that was a nice shot. That was a nice side step down for it too, but just didn't connect. Oh, what a lead.
And he should be dead.
Okay. Nice shot by Liz.
Dead, alright.
That was a great read right there.
And it was definitely an interesting first match, right? Just because Hyper Shield has given him a lot to think about right now. I don't think that jump was intentional, but definitely he's making him think about what he's going to do when he's just in crouch, which is the classic Lee strat, right? Either it's going to be slide or it's going to be like WoW Rising 1, right? Pretty standard, but he's made some good reads so far.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can keep that up. But just to give it to you guys one more time, so we did have to void a match earlier because there were some connection issues. Both players have agreed that there was some lag that couldn't be overcome. So we decided we're voiding that match. No player is going to get penalized because they've all followed proper guidelines and sent a speed tests. So that does mean that we are short a match for tonight, and we usually try not to improv with matches, but if you would like to play a first to 5, just send a message to either myself or say it in the chat. So we do have our founder, Sir Astronomical, who's down for a challenge, who wants to get himself, some points on the leaderboard. So if you want to play the good old Iron Fortress himself, make sure you say something in the chat, or you can send me a message via Discord. So, throwing that out there for you guys.
Alright, I'll be right back in 1 second. I need to just grab my clothes out the dryer. BRB.
You doing laundry? Dang, man.
Dude, it's so hard to try to find time to do laundry. It's a hard time, but my clothes are done, so give me like 30 seconds.
So Fat Boy, so Hyper Shield, I'm not sure if So Hyper Shield hasn't officially been a part of IPP, but I remember that his old gamer tag was Shield of Deflection, which I will type in the chat for you. But I don't know if he still sticks with that because I haven't seen this man offline in like over a year or some change. So I can't tell you I know for sure. But he lives in PA. He's in that Phoenixville area right where Gamers Heaven is. So I do know that he qualifies within region. So here we are. We're here at game 2. I'm going to hold it down solo commentary for you guys. Nice parry with the FF2 at the wall. So just telling you guys what I know about Hyper Shield because I know he's a new face. So he does play a very solid lead when he does find that he needs damage, especially for like comeback potential. I do notice that he does try to go for the slide while standing 1 mix-up, especially when he has rage as well. So that's always something to be careful for. Should be an interesting match just because we all know that CrimsonLotus does like to challenge sometimes, and challenging on a character like Lee could definitely be very dangerous. We already saw a few times that Hyper Shield has been able to launch him with Hitman while rising 2. I'm sorry, Hitman 2. Especially after sidestep. So these are the kind of things to be on the lookout for.
You gotta duck that. Oh, the
hop kick. And that's another thing. He does like the hop kick out of pressure sometimes.
We don't call it hop kick, we call it hoop kick.
You're right. You are absolutely right.
Run up shoulder. That's what fun.
So, but looking pretty for Hyper Shield right now.
Okay,
Rage Drive spent with no walls flat, so he still has a lot of work to do to make this comeback. Nice jab.
Run up hell sweep. Do it. Oh, you mashed again. Okay.
So, a quick 1-1 from Hyper Shield, and what an answer.
We got a match. Stardust Crusader Hyper Shield is on the board.
So, but yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a very interesting one because I think the biggest thing is when CrimsonLotus decides he wants to challenge, because sometimes it works out, right? He got the first game by challenging, but more often than not, I would probably say it's worked against him because Hitman 2 has hit him a few times. He's gotten some counter head launchers. It's just not on the classic Lee setups.
Yeah. I mean, Crimson, he's been catching some breaks because Hyper Shield's been like dropping some combos, but if Hyper Shield like starts cleaning up some of his inputs, then I think Crimson's gonna have a hard time dealing with this Lee gameplay because, like you were saying, like he's been challenging a few times, but if Hyper Shield can just keep mixing up when he wants to steal and when he doesn't want to steal a turn, then I'm not sure how Crimson exactly deals with that. I mean, this is my like internal conflict when I fight Lee, because I'm always like, all right, is he going to disrespect or is he going to respect? And then when I see standing 4, I'm like, I mash and I die, and I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Well, that is kind of what Lee has been centered around, right? Like, it's not like he has a lot of plus frame scenarios, so a lot of times he's fighting from minus, but his counter hit launchers are obviously fairly quick, and a lot of them have crushing properties to them. So it's basically you got to make a read on what you think your opponent's going to challenge with. So far it's worked out, but it's one of the things that you have to think very hard as a Lee player.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're maximizing on all of those situations.
Should be interesting what kind of adjustment Lotus decides to go with.
And generally, it is pretty decent, like pretty amazing that he did decide to go with Leo in this match. Now, granted, it's probably because he didn't know who Hyper Shield was going to pick, but I know that a complaint that I've heard with Leo is that she's generally too slow to get her offense started.
Why not just run up Hell Sweep?
I mean,
hey man, you got
there it is.
You gotta boost times, man. Uh-oh. Okay.
Good patience to not get killed, but the wake up kick still gets him killed. DF1.
I don't think she's slow to get her offense going.
Round 2.
Well, when you're punishing at the wall, I'm sure it's not a big deal.
Minus 12. No duck on the string. No side step. Alright, he was ready for that string. Oh.
No punish on the slide, right. Even though whiff.
I like the... Okay, no punish. Got a 4-2 on that, man. I know he's been trying to do it, but... Okay, standing 4.
What an amazing combo.
Well, he still got a combo's worth of damage right there.
Right.
Alright.
Now, another good thing to note is down 3 into Hitman is negative.
Oh, he's dead.
So, generally, that is a common place for you to challenge Lee if he does down 3 into Hitman. Now, obviously, he does have options for pressers, but generally something like down 4 or a safe DF1 might usually get the job done if you're mixing it up properly.
You get a safe move, safe down 4 2, but no combo. So yeah, like Hyper Shield's definitely giving CrimsonLotus a lot of chances because he's not cleaning up his combos. Speaking of combos,
yep, he drops another one, but he gets the slide, so still in a good spot for this round.
Hyper Shield's definitely taking the hard way to win these rounds.
Round 4.
But once he starts cleaning up his plate, then it should be a lot cleaner, obviously. Okay, no combo again. He's had like 8 opportunities to get a combo.
So, but you know, he's been winning in these last 2 rounds. He's been winning neutral. Okay, so
he got a combo. He's dead. He's dead. Yep.
All right, DF1, nice and safe.
Hyper Shield, trying to stay in the lead. Oh, he was that.
He tried to go for the acid rain. All right. All right, and he drops another combo. Yeah, it's definitely going to be very hard for him to win if he keeps dropping them, but he gets the slide.
Yeah, especially with Lee, because Lee's combos are already hard enough to do. But like, oh my god.
2, 3, what's for Oki? Goes for the low.
Dab low. The dab low. See, like, I think he dropped 2 combos that round. So like, he had that round, and not cleaning up the plate kind of ruined it for him.
Yeah, kind of. It did ruin it for him.
So, like, CrimsonLotus is up 2-1 now. But, like, if Hyper Shield can just finish his plate, life will be so much easier for him.
It definitely would, because even with all of the drops that he had, he still took it to the final round. So,
yeah.
Definitely doable for him. He's definitely making good decisions in neutral. So... It's just a matter of taking that free damage, man. You already got the combo. That's the hard part. Finishing the combo is supposed to be the easy part.
Yeah, but like Crimson definitely set the momentum hard in that first round with those whiffs at the wall into 4-4-2. So I think he was just like, I'm not sure he didn't have the momentum the whole entire time. I feel like the momentum was more in Hyper Shield's favor that game. But the drop combos was just like,
yeah,
a little too much. Like he had the momentum in round 1, but then I feel like all the other rounds was Hyper Shield was the one that had the momentum. But I mean, drop combos are drop combos, man.
So let's see what happens in game number 4. Hopefully, he's gonna clean it up. And maybe if it wouldn't even hurt to see him on an infinite stage. Just because, not because I want to see it, but when you drop in combos like that and you're giving the opponent more opportunities, then you end up by the wall. So, and now you have to deal with Leo at the wall, and gosh, no one wants to have that problem. So, maybe if you take that factor away entirely, it gives you more room for error, I'm thinking. But we're going to Violet Systems.
Round.
So he's chosen home court advantage.
Makes sense. Good punish.
And I like what he tried to do. So he didn't do the full. So he did while standing 4, and then he tried for magic 4, I believe. When he could have done while standing 3/3 and gotten more damage. And that's actually a 10 frame while standing punish there too. So small decisions to kind of take note of because it might come in handy a little bit later
punish. On. I'll sweep again.
Alright, get off the ground.
Lay out the wall, degenerate. Lay out the walls, degenerate, man.
Can't just lay there. She can make you pay for it, but a lot of characters can kind of make you pay for that.
Very, very degenerate at the wall.
No punish on Hitman 2. I think that's minus 13.
Okay, good patience by Crimson, but no punish on 4/3. Here comes the back 4.
There it is. Now he doesn't finish the combo, and that would have been an easy wall carry there.
He's got massive pressure right now. Holy crap. He said, alright, let me just turn on the gas.
Fight.
I mean, that's what you do when you hit that good old American reset.
Yep. Okay.
Acid Rain this time,
no
but doesn't get the combo.
No
punish on the slide either. So some missed opportunities from CrimsonLotus as well.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Crouch dash. Okay, and he mashed. If he finishes his plate, I jinx him.
Now that probably wouldn't have killed, but it would have been basically one mix up his death. But he still gets the round anyway, so good stuff for Hyper Shield, keeping it together. All right.
Low parry.
There it is.
Simple combo. Oh my god, I jinxed it again.
Stop talking when he's comboing. Let him focus.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking whenever he combos.
We're all just gonna stare. But
hey, he
now
just
something
wants
to note.
He just wants to win the hard way.
Hey, more props to him if he does win the hard way. DF2.
Okay,
Alright, we got a combo. I love how we said that at the same time. Good stuff for Hyper Shield, tying it up 2-2. Shout outs to Average Video Game Joe for hanging out in the chat for us. Hope you've been well, man.
What is up? What is up? What is up?
So just some tiny things to keep in mind when you're looking at this match, right? So both of these players have been crouching in the other person's face. Now, we've seen some slides out of Hyper Shield, but also on CrimsonLotus' side, we've seen Hell Sweeps. So both of these characters are both these players are making it scary for the other person when they just kind of stand at that menacing 0 range. So just things to keep in mind, because it could play a big factor of how the players respond when they have to deal with that 50-50.
Because the mix-up can get very real very fast.
And like you've seen, so we've obviously have already seen the slide in WoW Rising 1 from Hyper Shield. But on the other side, we've seen CrimsonLotus use WoW Rising 1, and we've seen him Hell Sweep. So that's his 50-50. Scary times for both of them. So.
But I guess the theme is that Hyper Shield is going to take the hard way to win his games. But I mean, it's working. It's working. Crimson's been playing well, even though like Hyper Shield's been starting to press on the gas a little bit. But I think Crimson will make the proper adjustment to deal with that. I think he might need to just try stepping more.
So yeah, I would agree with that.
Sidesteps are your friends, people. Sidesteps are your friends.
Sidestep blocking is always your friend. Alt F4, or just putting down the stick entirely, as suggested by the chat, is always an amazing option. But so it's pretty scary with Lee, and the reason being, let's just say he does his DF1, which is pretty classic for him. If you step to the left, he can use FF4. If you step to the right, you know that he has other options.
What a broken move. When I played Anakin a couple days ago, he did FF4, and it went under my down 4-1. And I was like, okay, this is fine.
They made that move even worse, I think, going into Season 3. Because now it has some insane crushing at this point.
So, like, I'm tired. Like, Lee players can no longer say that he's bad. Lee is not bad at all. And wall splat from... I hate that grab. How come she can wall splat you from, like, 2 backdashes away from the wall? But Lars does not get a wall splat. I keep saying this. I will say it until they add it in the game. But Lars, command throw should be a wall splat.
Lars doesn't need anything. He's already best Mishima.
He's already the best Mishima. I know. He's already the best Mishima, but still.
So he doesn't need anything if he's already the best. This is a game where we had Season 1 Devil. So...
Uh-oh. Here comes Degenerate Leo.
Round 3.
And hey, it's been working.
Fight.
Hey, degeneracy is your best friend in this game, man.
And he's been guessing, so CrimsonLotus has been guessing right. When he's at the wall, it looks like Hyper Shield is he's either ducking or hitting something.
Hell sweep again. Yep.
KO.
And offense is the best defense.
So
Offense is the best defense.
So what I think should probably happen now is...
Infinite stage.
Probably. And the reason being is because when he's at the wall, he's committing himself to one of two options. He's going to hit something to get away, or he's looking for a low. And you saw it there, and you've seen it in some of the previous games. He's not really committing himself to being patient and just sidestepping away from the wall. So, for all of this, and he's not giving himself too many opportunities to use the wall in his favor. So I think that is probably time to go for that infinite stage.
Might as well. I mean, like, it doesn't really playing on a wall stage doesn't really play into Hyper Shield's favor anyway, since he's mostly been dropping his combos. So might as well just go to infinite stage and take away Leo's mix-up potential at the wall, because it takes away your command throw, takes away Hell Sweep being very degenerate, and she has a lot of good mid-wall splats. So if I was Hyper Shield, I wouldn't want to deal with any of that.
Right.
So I would definitely go infinite stage if it was me against Leo.
It just seems like the better choice, because if you're gonna have to win the hard way, you want to give yourself as many opportunities as possible to get to not die if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
So I think Wallless would definitely be the best decision, but maybe he'll prove us wrong, and maybe he will get his combos, because he's getting plenty combo starters. He's just not doing anything with them. But he's still making a very close set regardless. It's only 3-2. It's plenty of time to turn the tables, and we're back on Vile Assistance.
He said, I need my walls.
Hey, maybe he needs to get settled in. He gets to pick his stage again. Maybe he's just settled in.
Round 1. Fight.
We'll see what he has. So, nice forward 2-1.
That's down 3 into no combo.
Now that is a hard combo to hit, so...
It is. Okay, standing for it.
Alright, so yep, he's still dropping the combos. That could have very well been the round, but he still is looking pretty good. And there it is, FF3.
Round
2020, man. We just play solid. We just play solid.
I mean, hey, that gets increasingly harder to do when you're playing Tekken 7, so more power to you.
Yeah.
Power crush.
Over. Okay.
Kind of sucks that overhead is 0, but it is pretty slow for the most part.
Okay, I like the power crush attempt, but just off by just a small margin.
It's those Tekken 7 hurt boxes.
Fight.
Yeah.
So, Acid Rain again. Will he drop the combo this time? He just goes for the spike. And a decent flow conversion, and he doesn't drop it that time.
Oh, he gets right. Okay.
Alright, Blazing Kick guaranteed. Want to make sure that you just take that so that you're not getting a full launch.
Oh my god. Dude, CrimsonLotus is just like, I'm just gonna low parry every time. I don't care if it doesn't work or not.
Alright, so he uses the rage early. So if he steps...
It's like mine's 11, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
Round 4.
And I'm pretty sure you can punish Lee's FF3, but, you know, it's the pushback that makes these things safe.
Yeah, I think only at the wall you can punish it.
Yeah. Alright, now for the classic.
Okay, no duck that time by Lotus.
He hasn't been using it that much, though, so...
Alright, Lotus has been doing a lot of hell sweeps after Lee does 4-3-3. So if I was Hyper Shield, I'd keep Lotus up.
Alright, that looked like a failed slide attempt. And it looks like he hit something. No, he didn't! Hop kick punish!
We got a back and forth set right here. We got ourselves a match. It's 3-2-3.
Good stuff for Hyper Shield with the adjustment. He didn't drop as many combos, so maybe he's finally shaking off all of the cobwebs.
Yeah, the cobwebs are finally off his arms, off his hands. He's like, all right, I'm ready to start finishing my plate and showing the true power of Lee. But we will have to see in the next game if the combos are going to be there. But I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like the combos or no combos, he's still winning rounds.
It's just his decision making, and that's a big core of what Lee is about too. Just kind of, are you putting yourself in the best scenario, in the best situations to get those combo starters? And he is, for better or worse. So good stuff to him for keeping it close.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these games have been like very like one-sided. Each game in the opposing player's favor. Because like the previous game, CrimsonLotus basically ran over Hyper Shield, and then that time Hyper Shield basically ran over CrimsonLotus. So I'm not sure who's gonna win this, honestly. This game. Yeah. Oh my bad.
I'm sorry. You also to what you said, it's a lot of momentum shifts. So I do think that the momentum has been a lot harder for Hyper Shield to work with because of the drop combos, but it's definitely been kind of like one of those sets where it's been a slippery slope. The moment that someone wins 2 in a row or something like that, the set could easily could just be over, really.
Yeah.
So,
ready for the next battle.
But here we are, we're tied at 3-3. Let's see where we're going now. Maybe CrimsonLotus wants a different stage. He does. We're going to the Kinder Gym.
Not a bad stage. It's a pretty big stage.
It's very open. It takes a really good wall carry combo to get to either of those 4 walls. So
I feel like this is one of the stages that a lot of people just don't like, but overall, it's a pretty good stage to pick. Like if you just want like a big stage, but still has walls.
Yeah, and you don't see it too often either. Nice little parry. All right, no punish. Trade works out in CrimsonLotus' favor. FF2.
Not again. Mix up. Oh.
And he drops the combo, but it did look a little bit far to his defense. And he drops it again.
Alright, hell sweep. Instead of doing the 13 frame punish, he hell sweeps.
Fight.
That's like the classic online tech, right?
The classic Leo strat. Just hell sweep everything.
Mishimas do that too, and I think it's hilarious. But does he take him to the wall? Nope, not quite, but he does have the positioning.
I think he's trying to hop over. I think he's trying to jump over the wall. I think that's what he's going for.
So Hyper Shield should actually be very wary of the FF2 by the wall, because if it's minus 10 or 11, he gets acid rain off of that. So, and that's like basically a launcher.
Why is this hop kick hitting on it when they tech? Oh, he's dead. Oh wait, no, he's not dead.
And Power Crush takes it.
Dang. You hate to see it. Alright, CrimsonLotus trying to make it 4-3.
And the momentum seems to be shifting back in his favor. And something that I have noticed, CrimsonLotus has been challenging a lot less.
Oh, wait, hold on. Where's this been all set? That was a pretty technical combo, and my man's finally pulls it out. But of course, it's been all set. We got a desync.
Okay, all right. So we have a desync, guys. We are going to.
That's awkward.
Go to intermission here, and we're gonna see what's going on. Now the set looks pretty good, so for the most part. So I think this might just be a server issue. We're going to re-invite and let him play it again. Doesn't seem like there's too much lag, so we won't go with a speed test for this one. Do you know what the round count was, Jordan? I lost track.
It was 2-0 CrimsonLotus.
Right. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna run it back on the same stage.
We're gonna have him run it back from round 3. So it'd be 2-0 round count for CrimsonLotus. So are we running it back, Joe, or are we just giving it to CrimsonLotus? Commander. Paging Joe Shepard, are you there? Alright, well, we will figure this out momentarily. Myself. I'm in the Discord. Alright, I was just checking.
Alright, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright. Hyper Shield has said that he was going to give him the game. I'm okay with him giving him the game if he concedes it, but otherwise we would have ran it back. So, since he's saying it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and make it 4-3 for CrimsonLotus. Probably in the future, we're just going to have him run it back anyway.
Yeah, alright, so this is set point for CrimsonLotus. But I wouldn't be shocked if Hyper. Oh, he did down 4-2 into a low parry. Okay.
Big read. But here's the thing: he probably shouldn't even have gotten that DF, that low parry attempt. But
yeah. A lot of mispunishment. I forgot to mention that earlier. There's been a lot of mispunishment in this set. Hop kick.
All right, he drops the combo again, and the cross chops.
Round 2. Fight.
Alright, drops the combo, but again, so the thing about Lee is you do have to have his combo execution down to truly maximize him, and unfortunately his combos aren't easy mode.
Yeah, no duck.
Alright, no duck on that again, and hop kick to challenge Hitman. So this is what I'm talking about.
I would have saved Rage. Wrong punish, but I guess it works. Nice slide. But yeah, I would have saved Rage right there because he still had like 2 more guesses left.
Yeah, and he had it wouldn't have been such a bad idea if he got the actual wall combo, but he didn't. So.
Anything. Oh, he fell.
And will he hit it?
Alright, we got a combo. Is it going to be 4-4?
Is it fair to say that when he actually gets the combos, he wins the round?
Yeah.
Alright, plus free.
Oh no. This is going to end. Alright, no play. Just barely misses.
Alright, he got lucky. No punish on that shoulder. It is launch.
Yeah, Yo, just run up raw shoulder. That's the second time he's done that this set.
Hey, if it's not getting punished, it's a poke now. Counter hit gets the guarantee while standing forward.
Power card. Alright. Set points.
Final round.
CrimsonLotus close it out.
Alright.
Oh, that down forward one's so good. It tracked it on. Oh, he did the classic.
Alright, now he's gonna take him to the wall. Nice combo, but he doesn't get the wall combo.
I think he was debating between doing a key charge setup or not, but it hasn't been working at all. Oh, come on, Hyper Shield, got to finish your plate. Alright, that works.
Alright, he got that combo. He hasn't been hitting that consistently for this set.
He's in a bad situation right now. Alright, okay. He got away from the wall. I was about to say he's in a bad. Oh no! He might be dead here.
The right combo means he's dead. Guess for your life. He stayed on the ground. He stayed on the ground. He has to